Friedman Adventures extraordinary broadcast because Mike Morrison is here. Of course, I thought you were going to shave your head so you could look like me.
Then Mark called me fat, so then I just stopped.
Oh, that's right. He said, man, you should get more like Phil here.
Like Slurpee.
Carnivore diet, let me tell you. We're good, though. Don't worry about that, Greg. We're running a commercial so we can make some money. All right, we have got breaking news. I'm sitting in here. Greg and I, Greg Bates, who's, helps us so much, we're trying to figure out, our charters and see if we can add another one. We just added a trip on the Independence.
I saw that.
That's great. We're looking forward to that. I hear you out there talking to somebody about, there's local yellowfin and they're seeing Dorado and there's big bluefin out by Santa Barbara. Spill your guts, man. People out there are watching right now live and they want to know what it is you know. What do you know?
It's not a whole lot of secret. We're still a month behind on, what's supposed to happen. And Gus is seeing stuff going to and from Catalina.
Like?
Yellowfin, Dorado, bluefin, things like that.
Dorado on the kelps again? Or
some. They had 3 weeks ago, they had a little bit of a hit. But it's kind of strange. They're seeing Dorado out on the banks and they're catching them on anchor and it's just weird. I feel like it's just a taste of
thinking that for a long time. I mean, I don't even think we felt the effects of the El Nino yet. Do you?
Not even the slightest.
Yeah.
We'll be fishing in January, catching whatever the heck we want.
It's so weird that we're a month behind, yet we're seeing all this fish, and you got to see them before you catch them. So I remember when that Dorado first moved in here last year, we were seeing it for a month, and it wasn't biting, right?
Yep.
And now it's starting to get there. If you have any questions for Mike, I'll read them to him. Aaron Hernandez says, good afternoon. Cue ball, breaking news.
Hi, Aaron.
What you got, bro? Mia Var, what's the breaking news? Pablo Hidalgo. So the breaking news is, how close to home? What's the closest to home? Is it in half-day range? Has anybody seen it there? Is it possible?
Not quite. It's the half-day thing.
Is the water not clean enough in there?
It's cleaning up a lot.
Yeah.
If you notice, the half-day count's been more rockfish than bass because this water's dirty and green.
Right. From that storm.
Yeah, this harbor's been, gross and green for a while, but that stuff pushed out almost to the edge of where the limits are for the half-day boat. But, it'll clean up. It'll have some decent weather coming and, just a good sign of life everywhere. My report's coming from one of the dive boats that fished Santa Barbara Island.
Magician, right?
The Magician.
Who runs that?
Carl.
Captain
Carl. I told him if he saw something in passing yesterday, and he was sending me stuff. And a lot of people are aware of this fish. It's just really big, fish that you need to go and fish at long range style.
Or bigger.
Yeah, they're big.
Wow.
Yeah, they're
like
big.
300-pound stuff.
So
they're kite fish and
it's kite
balloon
fish stuff and balloon fish. And no one's really seen it out there at night. So it's up on the bait that's been out there. But it's been there for a couple months now. But he visually just saw breezer and foamer after foamer. But when they got within half mile of it, it just all sunk out. It's not ready to party yet. So,
yeah.
But it'll be something. You probably see the Pursuit get the first big hit on that stuff. Gus has a kite and a couple different rigs on there.
Is he flying it today? Do you know?
No, nothing today. But if they're ready for something like that. But usually the passengers aren't too ready, and they got a rent rod or something like that. But there's a lot of guys that Gus communicates with, that when something like that's going to happen. So pay attention, book a trip on the full day boat. But yeah, Aaron saw some, yellowfin and Dorado on some kelps.
On the native sound.
Yeah, that it's just not worth hyping up yet because it's just, and nothing's really settling in. You go back to
that's my middle name, hype it up.
Well, I'm just saying, it's just get excited, but, just be ready. I'd say book some trips out in the next couple weeks now before they sell out because both those, the Pursuit and the Native, are fishing limited load, only 37 people, so it'll sell out fast. Gus is selling out without even turning a fish count. They had some sea bass at the island the other day, yellowtail, good size, bigger bonita. So Catalina has been off for all practical purposes, been normal for all practical purposes, but there's some sign of life that's showing up every day. Just got to get it to settle in and find some clean water over there.
And when you say it's not time to hype it, you're right in terms of it's not biting. So that's not it. But, man, I'm stoked. We're seeing yellowfin here locally. We're seeing Dorado, and we're seeing it from multiple sources.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
You got Aaron on the Native Sun, you got Gus on the Pursuit, you got Carl on the Magician, seeing that big bluefin. When it's one guy, it depends on who that guy is. If it's Aaron on the Native Sun, I'll take it to the bank, or Gus too.
Yeah.
But now we got multiple sources. These guys are seeing them, It's just a matter of time, Mike.
Yeah, no, it's gonna get going good. It's either is or isn't, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna go. I mean, nothing's really went full Richter except for that local bass fishing. That was pretty gosh darn good for what 2 months.
Yeah, yeah.
So it still is. I sent Benjamin out today.
I saw it. He was all excited. He's on the Monte Carlo.
He's all fired up. But I sent him out with some 8-ounce torpedoes because, like I said, I don't know what Walt's plan is this afternoon. So coming out half day fishing, be ready to fish straight up and down with an 8-ounce torpedo, or bring your bass rod with you because he might come back after he's done catching rockfish or sculpin.
Yeah, right. Benjamin made his debut on the morning briefing the other day. That was awesome.
Yeah, he was stoked.
Yeah, that was really, really
Yeah,
cool. He's a good kid.
He's like, yeah, Dad, I'm following Phil and I watch all of his shorts every morning. And it was like, what do you think about it? He's like, well, I don't really know. And I was like, do you like it? He's like, yeah, I love it. But I'm always waiting for the punchline, Dad.
And did he know he was going to be on, or did you just plop him in front of it?
No, we were eating dinner later that night. And I was like, hey, you watch some shorts? And he looks at me and is like, what?
He knew
He knew something was
up.
Yeah.
That's great. All right, so we've had this great bass fishing locally. That has kind of gone down the tube just a little
everything tapered off this week.
Yeah.
We had good fishing up until
including Tanner Bank.
Yeah,
yesterday,
up until Wednesday, Thursday, and you can make a pretty decent shot on an overnight trip. But I just got up on with Trevor. He's on a 2-day with Jeff Yeoman. And
oh, Jeff's on that trip.
And
they had a bunch of yellows, didn't they?
They had a lot of yellows, just
Yeah.
a couple bluefin. This morning they woke up at Clemente and they're fished front and back side of the island, and now they're going offshore looking for some patties on the way home.
Good, cool.
So,
but I mean, they had like 50 yellows, I think, when I heard.
65 to be exact.
That's awesome.
That's damn good fishing.
Yeah.
Especially with those guys. They can knock the crap out of them. I don't
So-
think they lost very many.
That grade of fish is excellent, right?
It's big, man.
Yeah.
All 25, 30-pound yellows.
That's nice. That's nice. And what do you think about that bluefin? That's not going anywhere. It's just probably a little weather sensitive.
I think it's the moon's up.
Yeah.
It's not moon phase or either.
We went through that last moon phase. Yeah, exact same thing. Well, I'm excited, especially about that local yellowfin tuna. Greg can hardly contain himself over there. He's so excited. Look at him. He's falling asleep. But that is great news.
It's big stuff, too.
The yellowfin?
Yeah. They're
what grade?
25 to 40.
Woo,
Good stuff. Not that
Can
little.
you imagine catching that on the 1/2 and 3/4 day boats? It's
Gonna
going to happen.
Again. There'll be 1 week where shit hits the fan around here, and we just put everybody up 3/4 day instead of half day. Give some guys a shot so Walt doesn't panic.
Oh, you mean turn him into a 3/4 day run?
That's what we did last year with the Dorado.
Yeah.
So it'll be a 6, a 6:30, and a 7 o'clock 3/4 day, and then once those are full, everybody else will jump on the bandwagon to go 3/4 day fishing again.
Perfect. Abel says, hello, Phil. It's good to see you here. Wild Willie, afternoon, Phil, and the Friedman Adventure family. Mike's a busy man, so if you have a question for Mike, pop it in here to us while we have him live with us. Why don't you tell me a little bit about the schedule here at 22nd Street Landing, so people who perhaps are watching from some part of the world that we're not familiar with might be able to join us. Hit that like button, everybody.
So everything's up right now. The full days 6 to 6 on the Pursuit, fishing Catalina and wherever else John and Gus need to go. Leaves at 6, returns at 6. They will leave you at the dock if you're here at 6:05. Half day boat is 6:30 and 12:30. We kept that schedule all through September. Kids are fishing for free during the week, Monday through Friday, with each paid adult, which is a lot of the families really enjoyed that this year because the economy's jacked up. Native Sons every day, 7 to 5, or whenever Aaron decides to bring you back home. Doing a variety of things.
You had limits of bass yesterday in what you could argue is a tough fishing. Am I right?
Very much
I
so.
thought I saw that.
Very much so. Yeah, they had limits of bass, limits of sculpin for a good charter group. He's out again today with another good charter group, Chris. Then the Freedom's up day and a half, overnight, 2-day, all through the end of October, and they're selling out almost every single trip, and they're catching. Trevor's doing a badass job over there. He did take the reins over because Tino backed out of there, so Trevor and Gary are kicking ass over there. And then we got
which is great. The young kids doing a good job, man. Yep. And they're both fine young men.
Oh, they're kicking ass. They're definitely putting it up. We got the Amigo and the Pride with the smattering of open party trips. Day and a half, reverse day and a half, 2-day, overnight stuff, covering whatever the Freedom's holes are. And then the El Patron's doing a handful of weekday, day and a half stuff. That's only 10 guys, which is pretty cool. Nice to have that type of a feel back here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Super duper limited load.
Can I mention that to everybody out there that we have September the 15th, the El Patron, and I think we have a few spots left on that trip. We're leaving at 6 a.m., coming back at 6 p.m. right here from 22nd Street Landing. You need to book that one with me, however, 657-227-6459. El Patron, man, he's speedy too. Does he kick it up when he has to?
They go way too fast.
I know,
14 knots and stuff. It's insane.
Yeah, I know.
And Chris lets Will do what he has to do. And Will's actually not knowing the guy at all. He's pretty damn fishy.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, took a minute to warm up, just in general or communication. But Will's pretty badass. Like, he comes from a long history of fishing. So
Are you doing okay after? Well, I want to be gentle about this, but after Mark Paisano Sr. compared your gut to my gut, are you okay after that?
he's generally mean to me all the time, so I'm used to it.
I felt pretty damn good about it.
He's mean. He picks on me.
I said to you the other day, boy, you're losing weight.
He likes calling me fat.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, at least he doesn't call me an angry redhead or something like that. But no, he's good to me. He's always been good to me.
He's got a little thing going on
Don't
there.
you dare.
We
Don't
all
you
do,
dare.
right?
Don't tell him that.
Yeah.
You never.
He admitted it to me today.
You never can bounce one back to him. He's good at dishing them, but not taking them.
Well, he was telling me that, hey, what are you doing? I said, the carnivore diet. And he goes, I can't give up my pasta, and I can't give up
He's
my...
freaking Italian. It's
I know.
You
I
get bread
know.
with bread.
Joel Cordova, Phil, going out on a half-day trip out of Point Loma. Hopefully the weather and fishing is good. What you all think? Dorado possibility? Absolutely.
I know
right?
their bass fishing picked up a little bit, and then I also saw a report from our buddies up in Delray that they've had some pretty decent sand bass fishing.
They
up
have.
there in a long
Yeah,
time.
I saw
So
that.
I just feel like this is either what it is, because I just accept for what it is. That's my pessimistic side, or it's just kind of like a precursor to what's gonna the rest of the season's gonna be. I mean, every year we run out of passengers before we run out of fish, but people were into catching this sand bass, which I'm all for. Sand
Me
bass
too.
and barracuda. We might get another shot at some barracuda again. So I'm all for half day fishing, 110%.
Me too. It's
most,
what gets
most value, most fish. Like you're not catching bluefin and stuff, but if you can't go catch a limited bass in these conditions, you should probably sharpen up your skill set and actually listen to the crew, because it was wide open as you can get for bass fishing, calicos and sand bass.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah. Hey, also a reminder, we're on the Independence on October the 20th. It's a 5-day trip with Friedman Adventures. I will be there. Greg will be there. I'll be shooting a video for the guys on board there. You book at independencesportfishing.com or Google their number, and unless Greg has their number, he can yell it out to me. He doesn't, but he'll get it. He wrote it down. I saw he wrote it down a little bit. But Independent Sport Fishing, we're going to be doing that. I definitely think this guy, Joel, has a chance at the Dorado. So a lot of those full-day guys down in San Diego, they've been up and down. They've had some good fishing, but they've had some weeks where they just, and yesterday, man, a few of those boys really got well. The San Diego had 100 Dorado. The Liberty had 100 Dorado. The Point Loma had 7 guys, and they had like pushing 40 Dorado.
Yeah,
it's coming, Mike.
If you're going to pay attention to anything, pay attention what that bugger does on that San Diego.
Yeah.
I mean, he turns in a count every day, good, bad, or indifferent.
He
doesn't sugarcoat it.
Nope.
And if you want to see what's going to go on, he's usually leads the charge of catching most stuff in the 3/4 day range, and helps out the overnight fishing too, just down below the border or just above the border. But if you want to know what's going on, I'd definitely pay attention to what the San Diego's doing.
Asking for a kind of a Dorado bite like we had last year is probably asking way too much. But as I look at this right now, I could make a case where there's Dorado 1,000 miles down the Baja coast as usual. That's no big thing. But now we're seeing it here, and now we have this 1,500-mile stretch at least. Not going down to Panama and Costa Rica and Colombia and everything else. We got this huge stretch of Dorado. It is conceivable that we're going to have that kind of bite again.
So I've done research on my own of what a Dorado is and what they do, because I didn't know anything much about a Dorado except for cool people who would come in the shop and say they fish in Cabo for Dorado.
Why
And
don't
I
you
was
ask
like,
me some questions and see if I can answer them?
I know now. They live up to 8 years.
No, they don't. Do they?
Yeah,
I thought it was 4.
up to 8 years. They live up to 8 years.
You got a whole bunch
You
of
can
people.
research
Go ahead.
Research it. They live up to 8 years. My theory still is
They grow faster than any
They grow
fish.
faster than any fish, and they're delicious, and they like eating the popper when they're up and flying. And that's my research.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
All
no,
right.
I did research, but I'm still saying it all came from all those floating container ships.
Oh, that's right. Somebody asked us about that, I think on Danny Cadota's live show the other night. Greg's perplexed. Why don't you give him your theory? And while you're giving it to Greg, you're giving it to all the people who are watching the
My
show.
theory, and I'm an idiot, but it was so every species, that migratory species, pelagic species that are around, they follow a food source. And we know that, and it goes in cycles of, they have tagged bluefin. They know they go all the way from Japan to here, vice versa. A lot of these fish found this clean water nearby, but they also found these hundreds of floating man-made kelp patties out to sea from as far as, Asia to here, and at night, because I bait fish at night, when we're driving past the container ships on anchor with their lights on, chances are you can cruise by one of those and just see big old bait ball after bait ball just stuck under those orange lights. And at night, they collect all this bait that probably sticks out around these boats, for the longest time. And
He's taking this very
my only
serious.
validation I would have is I'd have to talk to crews on these ships to say, like, you normally catch fish on the way going and coming, for fun or whatever you have to do. Was there more fish or different fish that you normally see in different areas? I wonder if somebody's one of these crew members on these big ships that were just stuck adrift for almost a year, So I would just think these migratory fish just kind of work their way around all the way closer to us than ever. But I know I'm probably not entirely wrong.
What do you think, Greg? Is that plausible?
I think you're spot on.
He does want to insult you.
And then the other thing, there was all these migratory booby birds and all these other birds that have not been in this. And to answer my question and say that I'm right, but I'm not a scientist. The last time these booby birds were on this side of the United States was the last time there was a logistics shipping issue.
Really? Mm-hmm. No,
So these birds, they hop on the boat and they nest on there sometimes, and they eat and feed, and they go back to these boats and sit there. So if you were to be able to go back on Marine Traffic app and go from the last 2 years or to the pandemic
like a
side of
conspiracy
it,
theory. I'm not going down this rabbit hole.
no, it's more accurate than your stupid freaking albacore theory. I already jumped in the water once, so F you guys.
All I know is that Scott Buchert's favorite bird is indeed the booby bird. He talks about them all the time.
He likes boobies.
Sometimes he doesn't mention the bird part of it, but he's always talking about those birds. So I know that he's all over it. All right, Joel wants to know the T-Bird is the boat. What do you think about them? Thanks, guys. Good operation. For all I know, they are good. Cue ball, dead bait. They love dead baits. Dodos. Yeah, they do, man. I fished them with strip bait and dead squid. They're all over. Jamie Argent. Hi, Philip. So I got a Dorado story for you. Back in the 976 tuna days, there was a guy for the LA Times named Pete Thomas. He was the outdoor writer. He became a good friend of mine. And so he's coming out with us on the Conquest. And we're out there. It was probably albacore fishing. I don't remember that, but I do remember this frickin' Dorado, giant, just up out of nowhere, shows up in the stern, and it's big for local fish, And I'm like, and my brain just goes, if I can catch that fish, I'll be on the front cover of the LA Times. That's just immediate. And I turn around, I look up at Joe Chade, who was on the bait tank for whatever reason. I have no idea why he was. He's usually, he was the captain of the boat. And he's just got a dipper like this, and he's got a big giant mackerel. And so I take it, and I had a big hook, like a 5.0 hook, and 40-pound. I toss that frickin' thing, inhales it. And so I'm fighting this thing, and it's turning sideways. You know how they do, so you got to pull them against the water. Nice fish. Anyway, I did get it, and I did get it right on the LA Times, but that was a 38-pound flathead.
That's a big one.
That's a nice one for, local water.
Yeah,
it's not bad. And Joe Chate, I thank you to this day for
those Dorado
passing
last
me that
year.
mackerel Roni.
Those Dorado last year were ridiculous. They were all big.
God,
they're big. They're bigger and bigger.
They're an incredible fish, great eating, man. And that was like, we were on the Amigo and we pulled into that spot of Dorado. Were you there? Yeah, you were there. It was incredible.
Oh, that's so cool.
I mean, it's like looking down into an aquarium. It's just fish everywhere. It was super excited. Hey, Isaac says, hello, gentlemen. Must be talking about you, Mike. That's definitely not me. All right, so let's go back over the breaking. We got quite a few people watching this thing for an unannounced show. Let's go back over the breaking news. We are seeing yellowfin locally. We are seeing Dorado. They're not biting. I don't know if anybody's caught one. Has anybody caught one? I'm sure maybe a private
Pursuit
boat.
caught one a few weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
That was tip top of the west end of Catalina Island. You know, that's old news now, but they had it, you know, just random spot up and high and dry with some tuna, not on a patty or anything, just Dorado free swimming.
Was it a big one?
Yeah, a couple big ones.
Yeah, I thought so, right? Yeah, nice fish. All right, sounds good to me. Anything else you want to say about 22nd Street Landing? You're ready to rock and roll?
We're literally the best.
Well, that's from the top down. The management here is just outstanding.
Just ask my boat captains.
I don't want to kill you half the time.
Exactly.
That's the nature of being a boat captain. You realize that, right?
Sure.
Do you think you could ever do anything to make them entirely 100% happy?
No.
No, I think if you handed them a lottery ticket and it was a winning lottery ticket, they'd go, wait a minute, I got to pay taxes on this crap. What are you trying to do to me?
You can make them happy, but if the $100 bills were in all face up, they'd have something to say about it.
All right, little inside landing, whatever it is here with you all. All right, Mike, appreciate it, man. Unless anybody else has another question. Greg has the Independence Sport Fishing phone number. If you'd like to join us October the 20th and make Mark Paisano Sr. even happier, 619-226-6066. And that's how you can get a hold of the Independence and get on board there. Ajax Reuter says, thanks, Mike. People like seeing you around this time.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you. All right, without further ado, don't push it yet, Greg. Do you see what you're going to push? Up at the top there, there's an X. You see that? So when I tell you, you're going to hit that X. And then something else will show up, and it'll say in show. And you're going to hit that, and then we're going to be out of here. Mike, good to see you.
Always a pleasure, sir.
All right, thank you so much. Thanks, everybody. Quick update here. Always good to have Mike Morrison, and we'll see you again really soon, everybody.